Hi there. Today's blog post is a story. It's fiction called Micro Dream Country. The ship's wooden hull creaked under the strain as the impressive, billowing sails caught the wind, and Zachary could feel the power in his bare feet, propulsion and drive. Standing on deck, he was not dressed for the weather, but having been blindfolded for 7 days, he excused himself this oversight, forgave himself for not knowing where he was being taken even. Being kept in the dark, a willed ignorance, seemed natural at this stage of his life, youthful but somewhat aimless. But this trip was all part of a larger plan. Reluctantly, he had agreed to it. Reluctantly at first, but then relieved. Trust played a major role, despite the past betrayals. He thought of it as an investment of sorts. Zachary had a pang of regret upon pulling out of San Francisco Bay. Had he really only been on the vessel for just a week? There was no way to be sure. He knew at the time he would be seeing the city skyline recede in the distance for the last time. As they pulled away from under the Golden Gate, his chest had an unfamiliar sinking sensation, remorse, as he put on the blindfold as agreed. He remained faithful to this part of the bargain, although it struck him as strange. During the voyage, he could only imagine the glittering waves and what the individual members of the crew must have looked like. He would grow to know them by the sound of their voices. He would dream of the colors of shimmering jade, the suns revealing the moods of the Pacific, the pearly depth. It was still mid-June. He could feel the elements. Zachary trusted the captain, a reliable old friend, a former business partner, the progenitor of not only the trip, but the plan, the big picture, as it was sometimes called when it was discussed. This was during the days in Napa, California, the heady 2020s, but the fog of one's imperfect memory envelops all eventually. Zachary knew in his heart he was quickly reaching the unknown destination. Despite the secrecy amongst the crew, there were always little clues. He had always been instinctual, if anything even more so now. Zachary knew, felt it in his bones. Standing on the roiling wooden planks, he could almost see the island in his mind's eye, although it had never been described to him, not by Stefano, nor by anyone else. Secrecy was part of the agreement, a price to be paid for getting out of trouble, legal and otherwise. The last time Zachary actually saw the captain, Stefano, his longtime friend and business partner, was just after boarding the ship. Everything had been arranged for prior to that, of course, and now all that remained to be done was to wait for his new life along the sands of paradise. Some may refer to Stefano's business dealings as scheming. They were a combination of creative accounting, exploitation of tax loopholes, stunning technological advancements that ended up being little more than well-executed parlor tricks upon discovery, all fueled by other investors' greed. That was just the juice that kept it going. Stefano had first propositioned Zachary vis-a-vis business while he was recovering from a car accident, which had left him with a strange sort of amnesia, difficult to describe to others, and financial challenges, which had been accumulating even before the hospital expenses. Creditors were closing in on his humble vineyard in Napa. Zachary had asked old friends and associates for help, even for loans. He did not like to ask for money. Word got out of his desperation. The phone stopped ringing at that point. Leads dried up, an entrepreneur's nightmare. Then, confusing circumstances, getting lost in the financial district, and a misunderstanding regarding a possible investment lead brought him to Stefano's corner office, which had a stunning view of the Bay Bridge and doting secretary out front. It was there and then that the plan unfolded. As it was described, it was going to make some quick money for all investors concerned. Zachary would not need capital, but his services, as it turned out, in exchange for a sizable share of the action. Stefano had been impressed with Zachary's reputation as a shrewd accountant, executive who knew the ins and outs of importation laws and fine art. Zachary was frankly stunned by the list of names and amounts amassed in the partnership. As always, he knew he was seeming eager to the point of desperation, always a failing. The investor list was confidential, always would be. Stefano joked that with Zachary's memory issues, the names were probably all forgotten at the end of the meeting anyway. Zachary came on board with the plan a week later. The end of part 1. Micro Dream Country by James Laguerre. June 8th, 2025. Copyrighted. Until next time. Take care.